This is Joshua 4 seconds out. Delighted to be joined by Dan Tower here in London. Dan, good to see you. First of all, how is everything?
Everything's good, back in camp. It's good to be down Wasserman Tazers and looking forward to announcing a new fight date.
Let's talk about the last fight. A bit of not a difficult fight, but I'm guessing the mindset might have been a little bit different going into, obviously, first time as a professional going into off the back of a defeat. What was going through your mind in the build-up to that fight? Did anything feel different?
I don't even know. I put a lot of pressure on myself going in the fight. Obviously, wanting before it was in my hometown. It was good. Finished the fight in great fashion, and knocked them out in 5th round. And I think it says a lot about my character, a lot about myself. Many fighters, they take a defeat or take a loss, especially in that fashion, and we're missing or they're never the same. 8 weeks later, I was back in my hometown. Sold loads of tickets, knocked it out. I think it speaks a lot about myself. And I do believe that I'll be used as an example. For young fighters and trainers, I'll use Dan Towers as an example. Say like, look what happened to him and Starby's career, and look what he went on go on to achieve.
How did you deal with the defeat, like in the first few weeks afterwards? What was the mindset?
Obviously, I usually as an amateur, but in the pro, in the pro ranks it's different. But look, we don't sit around feeling sorry for myself. That's not how I was booked. That's not how we do things. I didn't sit around feeling sorry for myself. I had a week off, straight back in the gym on Monday after putting in the graft. And look, we're back to winning ways. Hopefully, another couple of fights this year, and then we'll push on next year for big things.
Looking at that last fight, what do you feel you did real, or do you think there's any improvements there from the last fight? It's not just result-wise, but performance-wise as well. Do you feel there was a lot more that you did better?
Before even the fight that I lost, I was boxing well. I was winning the fight until I got caught with a shot. Other sports, you get beat, you play next week. In boxing, you get knocked out. You make a mistake and you get knocked out. It's a shame it's on national television, you know what I mean? But that's what you sign up for. This is professional boxing. You're fighting grown men in little gloves. And these things has a look. It's a learning curve, something that I can only improve and take from or take positives from. And I believe on that night I learned more than what I did in the 5 fights previous. It'll not define me a loss. If anything, it'll make me a better fighter.
So I was going to say, in a sense, do you feel it might be a little bit better that, obviously it's never ideal to lose in boxing, you want to say as many people as long as you can, but do you feel it's almost better that it happens at this stage of your career in those early fights, because then you know what the mistakes are, you know how to get out of those situations, and ultimately as you go up the levels, you have a bit more experience with you.
Maybe, like I said before, that's what makes boxing so exciting, because anything can happen. You make a mistake, you get caught with a shot. People are crying out for young prospects to take risks and take all fights and not pad the records. If you look at my resume, that's something I've never done. Always 4 fighters I've come to win, winning records. Professional boxing, amateur boxing are worlds apart, and that's something that I'm learning. I'm still a novice in the pros, although all the success what I had in the amateurs. So all I can say is it's a learning curve, something that I put right.
Going forward, when can we next see Dan Tower back in the ring? How soon will it be?
Hopefully soon. I'm just waiting a confirmation of the date. I know I've got something in mind, and like I said, hopefully a couple of fights this year. Whether that is 2 or maybe 1, I don't know. But hopefully I'd like to get out twice more. Hopefully I'll announce it soon.
With these 2 fights, do you want to have a title fight by then? Do you feel that's something now that may come maybe at the start of next year, or do you feel there is potential there could be a title fight by the end of the year?
If it makes sense, if the point goal makes sense, and there's something on the table that makes sense for my career, then yeah, of course, I'm always open for any sort of fight. I'm not scared to fight anyone. I still believe I'm the best prospect at 154, and there couldn't be, and that time will tell with that. Look, I should be my manager, and I'm just ready for the phone call. I'll be in the gym fit and ready.
And just looking at your career as a whole, how impressed are you with the growth from the debut to now? Because it feels even in the defeat, it still feels like you go through strength to strength every fight, and we see a little bit more of what you're about. How impressed are you with your own growth?
Yeah, like I said before, professional boxing, amateur boxing are worlds apart. It's something that you've got to learn. Amateur boxers are sport, professional boxers and team and business. People want to see people get. And look, that's what I try and do. I try and entertain, but at the same time, show boxing skill. And I think I'm improving massively on the Dave Colwell, and I will improve.
Obviously, and then just while I've got you down, I want to get your thoughts on some of the big fights going on at the moment. Canelo versus Crawford takes place in just over 2 months' time now, I believe. How do you see the fight playing out?
I'm going to say I believe Crawford will win. I think it's the right time. I think Canelo's at the back end of his career. But Canelo's a bigger man. Crawford's boxed, I think it's super welter. 154 is that heaviest weight. Canelo's boxed all the way up to light heavy when he bought double. So it's a good big man versus good little man. But for myself, I'll back Crawford for this one.
Do you feel another thing for Crawford could be the switch hitting? Do you have any concerns as to how Canelo might deal with that switch hitting? Because Crawford's shown it numerous times how if he's struggling in orthodox, he'll just switch to southpaw and bang, he changes the fight like that.
Canelo's, styles though, he's an elite fight, top fighters. I think it's a great fight for boxing fans, but I just think it's more Crawford's boxing IQ. He's seen not as much as stance changing, but throughout fights where things have been going wrong or he's been down on the cause, he's got that dog in him. He can always pull it back or switch up styles. So that's why I'm going to back Crawford.
And then also we see potentially the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor, been targeted for the back end of September or early October. How do you see this rematch playing out, especially going off what we saw the first time round? What changes in a rematch?
Do you want me to be honest? I couldn't care less about the rematch. Great, I'm not interested. I know the first fight was great. It was great for boxing, made financial sense and everything for them too. But I think it's done. Put it to bed. I think if they allow Eubank to have the rehydration clause, I just think it's a one-sided fight like it was the first fight. I had Eubank and comfortably, and especially if he allows to rehydrate properly, I see him maybe stopping down.
It's a risk.
If they are to do the rematch, but with the rehydration clause, obviously we saw how much of a struggle it was the first time, and obviously looking after the fight, we saw things from Eubank himself saying that he was in hospital for 2 days after. I feel if that rehydration clause stays, that does give Conor a bit of a chance, especially with as you get older, it gets harder and harder to take the weight.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's mad that people in general or boxing fans disregard what Eubank done in his career. Only being beat off world champions, boxed at top level throughout his career, flew through British level, or never quite made it at the world level, but always boxed and beat world. He's also beat world champions like James DeGale. Whereas Conor BENN, who's he for? So I think for me, from the first fight, I think with the way the rehydration was, Eubank beat him pretty comfortably. I think if it's in Eubank's favour the second fight, I think he smashes then.
Who would you like to see Eubank Jr. face next? Is he going to be fan event?
I'd like to see him wrap up. Why? He's had a brilliant career. He's never quite made it at the world level. Made a lot of money. That fight, I don't think gets any bigger than the last fight. I think he's behind now, isn't he? After the last fight, ended up in hospital for a week. Had a great career. I think I'd like to see him call it a day for myself.
Fair enough, Dan. Really appreciate your time. We look forward to the next one. Don't forget your time. Bye. Thank you.